evening. I haven't said that one before. It's normally good morning or good afternoon, but the way that the day has planned itself today, it's good evening. My name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the weekly energies with today's Monday's Musings. I've just spent some time debating whether or not to do the reading. And the reason being, I guess I was trying to jump ahead to see what it would be about. And you know, every time I turn up, every week that I turn up, I don't have any, that's incense, there's nothing fancy on my screen that's incense burning. I don't have any agenda as such other than to tune into the energies this week and how to best navigate them. And today, for some reason, I think because of the time, because of it being evening and wanting to wind down, as you can hear, I have a cold as well. I think for my own benefit, for my own well-being, I wondered whether or not it was worth doing a reading, whether or not a reading was needed for the energies this week, which feels kind of poignant. When we wonder if something is worth doing, to really look at what's going on with our body, to really look at our own view of the time that it will take, our own view, yes, of the worth that needs to be put in, and whether or not we are up to match that. With anything that we try and manifest, you know, every time we try and create something, we are being asked to grow and to grow with whatever it is we are trying to deliver. And there's no judgment there, but sometimes we just don't feel up to the task, and that's okay. You know, that is where we come into stepping back and really looking at what we need first. So I did briefly look into the energies, and what actually came up, I can't remember the second card, but the card that came up was the King of Pentacles. So it's being really grounded, being really embodied in what it is we are trying to deliver, what it is we are trying to get across. And if we don't feel able to do that, then to acknowledge that it's us that doesn't feel able to do that before we start reflecting that into the environment. So what else came up before the video? Now I'm feeling quite excited. Now I'm feeling really ready to look at what's going on, which again feels like key this week. Just double checking I'm recording. Yes, two aspects there. How do you feel about doing what it is you are doing? You know, we need that momentum of excitement behind it. We need that drive, if you will, to really look at the drive behind what it is we're doing this week. That can be a real key as to where we are in regards to what we're trying to create, as to the worth we're willing to put in to what we're trying to create. So if that excitement, that drive isn't there, again, this is old hat, this is old school, but sometimes we end up doing things that we need to do rather than what we want to do, and that feels like the emphasis this week, to really establish what do we want to do, does it tally in with what we need to do. Okay, so I'm going to mention one last thing. There was something about recording, wasn't there? So maybe looking back over the things that we have wished that we wanted and just adapting them, just adjusting them. It feels a bit blurry, the energy in regards to that. So if there's something there, we'll come back to that. But the second or last thing I'm going to talk about before I actually look at the energies this week and stick to my intention, which poignant this week, sticking to your intention. The last thing I'm going to talk about is I was trying to move my computer around to get the best angle, moving it this way, moving it that way, without realising that the camera that I have on top is actually a movable camera. So really looking at where we might be trying to see things from all angles, and rather than adjust our whole environment, looking at the fact that we can just turn our head, we can just turn our faces to something, we can just adjust our own view quite easily just by moving ourselves rather than expecting everything else to move around us. Interesting. Okay. And the last thing that came through, honey on my thumb, looking at why we try as hard as we do. Do we need to try as hard as we are trying with certain things? Looking at where our effort is coming from. What energy is our effort actually coming from? Are we allowing that gap of co-creation? Are we, doing something, setting that intention, waiting for that return, or are we just constant? Is that tiring us? Is that tiring the creation that we're trying to achieve? Okay, so anything else? I don't think so. What I can hear is the song, What Does the Fox Say? And it's because I'm looking at a fox in the corner here, but also, yeah, what does the fox say? We'll see if anything comes of that. But yeah, I mean, the totem, the fox, is normally quite a perceived sly creature, but it's also the animal that Merlin is said to shapeshift into. So yeah, no, nothing. Okay, not ready, not ready, not ready. Waiting until we are ready this week. That real prudence that comes with the hermit, that real prudence that comes with that Merlin magical energy, really waiting until something is ready. And now I see watching a pot boil. The analogy of watching a pot boil takes twice as long. So, distracting ourselves, finding something else to do. There's plenty out there to be done. So, finding something else to do. So, for argument's sake, the reason this video is later in the evening is because I have a life, right? We all have a life. And I wanted to clean my home. I wanted to cleanse my home, to do my garden, to plant some herbs I've waited to plant for some time, which I didn't know, but ironically are very much to do with memory and peace. And remembering the things that bring us peace and finding time to do them. This week in particular, I think there's a full moon on the 8th. I don't know what sign it's in. I haven't really tuned into it at the moment, but just finding time for things that bring us peace this week. There is a big clearing coming. There's a big shift coming. Allowing space for that. So I'm journeying with the tarot cards at the moment, and the High Priestess, one of the things she really brought through to me when I was traveling with her was, it's not about making time, it's about making space. When we make space, what we're doing is we're slowing time for creativity. So without filling in the gaps, we're creating more. It's an old, very obvious but ancient way of manifesting, coming back to the surface. Now my head's being tapped, so now stepping into that, recognizing what is actually going on, an older, more ancient way of manifesting coming to the surface. I can feel the support behind me now, and I'm actually using Ace of Cauldron at the top. I'm actually using a deck called the Tarot of the Old Ways. Okay, energies for this week. It's so grounded and beautiful and simple, and it's very much about remembering that life can be like that as we go into winter now, as we go into autumn first, jump ahead, but as we go into autumn and into winter, it's like really going within and really reflecting but holding space and healing and shifting deeply. Okay, energies this week and how to best navigate them. So first and foremost, going into that energy first before we do anything this week, really going into that deep cleansing, sacred, ritualistic type energy this week before we do anything. What is it we are trying to create here? Really seeing everything as ceremony, every conversation, every word. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Okay. It's like a breath of fresh air that many of us have waited for, without there having to be, no stories needed to step into this energy. It's energy within us all. It's a knowing. Okay. Right. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I want one more. Oh yeah, overall, of course. I wanted one more, and it's like, but overall, I want one more. And as I say that, the card overall for the energy this week is the 9 of Cauldrons. I've got to remember that my camera is now that side. The 9 of Cauldrons. And that's a real, it's known as the wish card, but really looking at that I want one more type energy. With this card in particular, the characters are quite, they're obese, they're greedy almost. They've They're not actually sharing. It looks like they're sharing, but they're not actually sharing. They're holding on to everything here. And it's a I want one more, I want more type energy, which is interesting because as I laid the cards out, at first I could feel that beautiful, deep, grounded type flow. But by the end of the week, you know, at the bottom of the pack was the Five of Pentacles. By the end of the week, I could feel that it had almost become quite agitated, and that's reflective in the cards. So finding the reason behind you why you might want more. Now that's not to say that it's a good or bad thing to want more, but what is it you want more of? Yeah, thank you. What is it you want more of? And becoming that. So if we want more stability in relationships, becoming more stable in ourselves first and then with others. If we want more abundance and, you know, more self-care, again, becoming that first and then seeking it outside of us, or perhaps looking at why we want that. Why do we need more? Okay, so on the Monday today we do have the High Priestess, so we do have that real underworld type energy. But what I really sense here, I'll just take that up there. Let's look going to focus. Okay, on this card, I don't know if you managed to see it, but it's the only High Priestess card I've seen where she isn't actually in the underworld. She's in the upper world, and we almost have to look, is this the High Priestess? I'm not quite sure, because we're used to that real lower world, deep, heavy energy. What I see here is comfort in this energy now, a wisdom that has come from many, many journeys to the underworld, many, many endurances, a real sacred union of the darkness and the light now. And in that, this has become our landscape, our Eden, our ability to create has come from these endurances now. Here on earth, not in the underworld, but it's about bringing that deeper, ancient energy up. It's about the other half of the journey of the High Priestess now. It's about coming back up out of the underworld with all the gifts that we have gained on a deeper, more intuitive, innate level. Bringing them up. I want to say native. At first I thought it was naive. It's not. It's native on a native level. And native, what's native to you? Okay, what is your native language? What is your native culture? What is your native beliefs? You know, bringing them now to the very world that you walk, to the very world that you live. It's almost like this yearning is for more sustainability, things that are more substantial. You know, I love to read the cards. I love to be part of healing and spirituality and everything else. But for me, the richness comes from everyday life and how it's applied. And it's very much that this week. It's very much making things more. It's not 3D, it's not 5D, it's not even 9D. It's almost like it's come full circle. I'm really, really deeply grounded, embodied in everything that we do, making things more real. Definitely, you know, we can find all this wisdom and all these insights, but it is in applying them to life, they become real, and that's when they become magic. So on the Tuesday, we do have the Eight of Cauldrons, and what we can see here is this character has actually took those Nine of Cups almost and run off with them. But there are 3 left. So this energy that is moving away now, almost in a sneaky fashion, but energy that is moving away nevertheless, has taken 5 cups with him, taken that grief with him, if we will allow that. And what's actually left on the path, on the journey, is 3 cups, the ability to create something quite special and quite beautiful now. What I see here is for the energies that want to walk away, let them walk away. Okay, for the things that aren't substantial enough anymore, to move on with love. You know, I mean, these characters have got their backs turned, but actually look at the 3 cups on the path. Look at the beauty that has come from everything that has occurred and bid it farewell. Whether that's a relationship, a situation, a worry, a concern, a repetitive pattern perhaps that we may feel like we need to heal, letting it go is part of that process. So So on the Wednesday we have the Ten of Pentacles. So we have a beautiful union here, a very I want to say a luminous union here between our actions and what it is we are trying to achieve for the Wednesday. Now I think that is a full moon on the Wednesday. What are we, the 3rd, aren't we, today? So that'd be 4th. I think it's coming up to the full moon on the Wednesday. Apologies, I haven't actually felt into it, but that's what I feel. I feel like the energy is starting to build. Okay, so we may not have looked into what it is that is actually occurring, or what it is that we actually want, but we can feel, right? We can feel what we want. So when our head starts to think, I'm not sure if this is what I want, how does it feel? How does it feel? Really bring it back, because it's that's going to give the wealth that we want to share with others. You know, it's that's going to make us feel, this isn't nice, I don't want to be part of this, I don't want to share this. What do I want to share on the Wednesday? On the Thursday we have the Empress. So I love how at the beginning of the week we have the High Priestess, and she's stroking the head of the deer, of the feminine. And then by the Thursday we have the Empress, and the deer has kind of moved into the background, gone into the woods now. So by the Monday, everything that comes up on the Monday is going to be ripe for deliverance by the Thursday here. And, you know, we need a lot of love, we need a lot of nurture, a lot of gaps, pauses and spaces on the Thursday, and just time to center, time to heal, time to be, time to mature by the Thursday. That's what I really feel. On the Friday we start to have more it felt more agitated energy, and we actually have 2 cards for the Friday, which feels poignant to decide actually between the two. So we have the Page of Cauldrons here, and his cup, he's actually filling, I don't think you can see that, but he's actually filling what looks like from tears from his fingers. And underneath that we have the 7 of Rods. We have quite a defensiveness here, and I can feel almost like a wanting to stop the reading, almost like a wanting to give up, almost like a what is the point on the Friday. Keep going. With whatever it is you are doing, keep going, because on the Saturday we do have the 6 of Rods. So it's almost like having to go backwards to go through this. What is the point? How badly do we want it? That's what I hear. How badly do we want it? And to really go through that on the Friday, so we can take that thing that we do want and move forward with it on the Saturday. On the Sunday, we do have the 10 of Rods. Now, this is the 10 of Wands. And again, it is, I want to go back to that 9 of Cups card. What do we want? I want more. Do we want more? Or do we want to simplify what we've got and appreciate it more? Now that really feels like the nub this week. Do we actually want more? Is that coming from a place of abundance or a place of lack? You know, the 5 of Pentacles, the overall energy at the bottom of the pack. Is it that we want more, or is it coming from a place of lack? And where does that lack come from? Because if it comes from inside, no matter how much money we have, no matter how big our house, no matter how great our job, no matter how wonderful our relationships, we are never going to feel safe. And it's that I feel is being played with, manipulated, twisted this week to be recognized. Excuse me. As the very thing that we are creating from, to be recognized. When we see something for what it is, the shift automatically happens. The illusion isn't there anymore. So when we can acknowledge what is going on, sometimes we can feel like we need to do so much healing with that. Acknowledgement itself is a wonderful thing, because we almost see the darkness in the light, right? So just by observing something, excuse me, getting over a cold, just by observing something, just by seeing it for what it is, the shift is very likely to happen this week. If we're going to continue to create from a place of pain or lack or endurances or even the underworld journey, if we're creating from the underworld journey, we're not creating from the underworld journey, because we create by surviving the endurances, but leaving them down there and taking forward the beauty that has come from it. So really looking at, are we creating the beauty way this week, or is it from a place of pain and lack? Excuse me. So overall we have 2 major arcanas. And it's the High Priestess and the Empress. Just as my voice is going and my chest feels quite tight. And it is about being able to speak now of what is in our heart, but not for everyone else to hear, ourselves, to really look at what is actually in our heart. It felt like something, like my hair had almost been pulled back then, to really look at what is holding us back from speaking, what is in our heart. And to be open to the fact that it could very well be ourselves this week, and where we're asking from. Okay, where we're creating from. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3. Oh, 3 cup cards. But the honey on my finger made the 8 of cups stick to it. Okay, so it's my magic finger, it's my pointy finger, it's that finger that we, it was this, this and this, but also our magic finger. It's on the left side, which is the feminine. Surprise, surprise. And it is the 8 of cauldrons, and it's stuck with the honey on my finger. And what I hear is, you will catch more flies with honey than you will water or whatever. You will catch more flies with honey. So really embracing the sweetness this week, in order to help the release of what's necessary. So that goes for ourselves as well, right? Finding what feels nice for us this week and really embracing that. Creating from that. So it's 3 cups. So it is the 3 of cups, which is birth and creation. And it's the 9 of cauldrons, the 8 of cauldrons, and the page of cauldrons. With the page of cups, he's looking into the cup and he's seeing his own reflection. And it is about re-establishing that awe and that wonder that we have with ourselves, rather than feeling like a fish out of water, rather than feeling like nothing is going to plan. Really looking at what we have created, why we have created it, what we have learned from that, and deciding not to take that forward now. It is a comfort zone thing. So I'm looking at the 9 of cauldrons and the 5 of pentacles, and we can feel really connected to source and connected to spirit through our trials, our tribulations. That's where we've gained most of our hope and our faith, right? But there are other ways to connect to source and to connect to spirit, and I'm really feeling that this week, to really get out in nature to see the messages that are all around us, to come back to life. I can hear the song Pink Floyd, Coming Back to Life. Okay, we then have 1, 2 pentacle cards, the 5 of pentacles and the 10 of pentacles, and I feel like it's a choice. I really feel like it's a choice, gosh. And I want to, so I wanted 1 card for between that, and we've actually got 2. The 5 of swords, the other one was the 5 of wands, and underneath was actually the ace of swords. But let's not overthink things here. That's what I'm really hearing. Let's not overthink things. It's a choice, right? It's the 5 of swords here. What are we defending? What are we running towards? What are we being distracted by? What are we willing to fight for? What are we willing to fight for this week? Are we willing to fight for the endurances, or are we willing to fight for the beauty that comes from the endurances? Are we a 5 of pentacles or a 10 of pentacles? They're one and the same, but there's a huge turning point available here by realizing they are one and the same, and remembering that they have in common the very thing that we're trying to achieve. So focusing on that and fighting for that this week, feeling into that. And where we may not feel up to it, maybe it's time to let it go. I've been having a lot of dreams of late about letting things go in regards to what I actually offer, which is going to be interesting because I don't feel like I've offered everything that I can. So really looking at that If you truly believe you have more to offer and want to, then offer it. If not, maybe it's time to move on. Maybe it's time to allow that space that the High Priestess speaks of without filling the gaps from repetitive things and behaviours, just allowing that space to give that time. Now, when we do that, what happens is we go into that place of all those things we've been not wanting to face, trying to avoid, and there's no judgment there. But when we give that space, when we feel ready, the healing can come in for whatever is needed. Now, I'm being drawn to the sheer fact that the Eight of Cups here has almost like teardrops on his clothes, and it's almost like those teardrops are feeding the cup in the Page of Cauldrons here. When I was a midwife, I used to love putting on my uniform. And when you put on a uniform, when you almost put on a persona, right? So really looking at the clothes that we're putting on. And I don't mean just our clothes, although, hey, we can look at that too. Dressing for the part, that's what I hear. Dress for the part. Really look at the skin that we are putting on. Are we still putting on the lack? Are we still putting on the doubt? Or have we changed our whole wardrobe metaphorically? Okay, so we then have 3 wand cards, which is creative force again. And on the one side we have 7, on the other we have the 10 of rods, and in the middle we have the 6 of rods. If it all feels like it's a little bit too much this week, it is really about looking at what is important. What is important? What gives us that drive, that excitement, that get out of bed? Sometimes for me it's my dog. The fact that he has to walk makes me get out of bed. What gets you out of bed? What turns you on? What makes you want to do the day? What makes you want to keep fighting and to keep defending the dreams that you have? It's not about the dreams. The dreams are almost there, like stars in the sky waiting to be plucked. And in front of most of us as well. It is about the drive behind them now. It is down to us to reach for them. It is down to us to invest in what's in front of us. If we feel like we are lacking, that's okay. So what do you need to repair that love for the dream that you once had? So I think that's all of those. So I'm just going to, 27 minutes. I think that's really quite a good amount of time, and that feels like key. How much time have you spent on something? Do you feel okay with it? Have you spent enough time on something? So we have the Hermit, okay, the wise one, that really going within, and then we have the Knight of Rods here. Go within and find your own drive. Underneath is the 7 of Swords, and it's kind of like, well, this person took that, or this situation took that, and I can relate to that. This situation took that, and this journey took that, and this is happening, and that's true. That's absolutely true. The 7 is about endurance. It's also about not letting our mind run away with us. It is about not letting others destroy our drive and our ambition and our light as well, and that feels quite important this week. We have the Hermit and the Knight of Rods here. If you're going to fight for anything, fight for the right to be your own light. Take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.